Awesome. I do like to talk about myself, just having a look around. What a great space. What an absolutely fantastic space this is. And you all look pretty good out there too. Look, really glad to be here. Not just because you all look great and it's a fantastic spot. I moved house last week. At home, we've got dust. I've got family. I've got boxes, I've got chaos. So the opportunity to come here today and keynote speak is absolutely fantastic. And I do appreciate Charlie for giving me the opportunity to share some insights with you. As I said, my name is Domonic Thompson. I have the absolute privilege and honour of looking after the real estate segment for Macquarie Bank. So what does that mean? It effectively means that I'm responsible for our 2,200 real estate clients that we bank. And I'm here today to hopefully share some insights with you about the conversations we're having with our clients as they navigate the current backdrop. So we're all very, very much aware that change is happening out there, but it's not change that we need to be navigating, it's transformation. And it's transformation that you have the conscious choice to participate in as business owners, as team leaders, as employees of the companies that you currently serve. So whilst that seems like a bit of a motherhood statement, I'm hoping that we'll walk our way today, not only acknowledging the backdrop, but giving you an opportunity to work out what it's going to take to manage a real estate business in the future. Because, let's face it, the last 2 years have felt like that. I know that some people in the room will be going, oh, it's a roller coaster, fantastic. That puts the absolute fear of God into me when I see that in an amusement park. And maybe some of you share that feeling as well. But this is what it's been feeling like for the last 2 years. An absolute roller coaster. Why is that? Well, not here to bank bash clearly, being a bank employee, but it's fair to say that the banking landscape has clearly impacted real estate fundamentally. So the last couple of years, I've had a lot of business owners doing this, wondering where the money is at the end of the month, because there's too much month for the money that's been coming through. Now, there's only so much we can do about that because that's controlled by factors outside of our control. That's controlled by macro issues, international issues. So it's all about controlling what you can control. Control the controllables. So, wave of change. Yes, the backdrop's been interesting over the last couple of years. We can't do anything about that. Things have arguably changed somewhat and the conditions out there are a little bit more favourable. However, still a significant wave of change coming through your industry. And it's all getting a little bit overwhelming. It's all getting a little bit overwhelming, certainly as it relates to technology. It's been a few years now that we've been embracing technology as an industry, and arguably we've been living in the dark ages for way too long. Technology in this space is long, long overdue, and now we're playing catch up. And that comes with some frustrations and some challenges. Because I'd argue over the last few years, people have been beating their head against the wall with 40 to 50 different pieces of technology that, whilst incrementally provide a benefit to their business, the fact that they don't talk to each other just adds to the frustration and arguably offsets the incremental benefit. Now, change continues to happen and the technology is catching up and it's improving and it's delivering more and more to the businesses in which you serve. So technology as a challenge is not going to go away anytime soon. And what Charlie and the team at Console are doing, I firmly believe, is market leading in terms of the grand vision, because technology is not about the here and now. We'll get to this in a little bit more detail as we go through the presentation, but it's very much about the vision and making sure that you are aligning yourself with partners, and not just technology, that share a vision for your business and the business in which you serve. So, what else do we know? Change is happening as it relates to customer experience and customer expectations. We use our phones on average, by all accounts, 5.5 hours a day. I believe that's understated. My girlfriend uses it at least 13 hours a day. But we use it to run our lives. As long as you've got an opposable thumb and a somewhat decent smartphone, you can pretty much run most of your life these days. Uber's the example that we're all very, very familiar with. It's certainly changed the landscape as it relates to taxis. But not only has it done that, it's fundamentally changed and set the tone for how we want to experience everything. So if I've just ordered an Uber, which many of you did to possibly get here this morning, order an Uber, I've got visibility, I've got transparency around where it is, I can keep doing stuff around the house or whatever it is I need to do work, because I haven't got to wait on the street side for a cab to wonder when it's going to be here. Not only that, we get in the cab, when we get out, we get the beep on the phone because we know that it's debited our account, we know how much we've paid, and if we're so inclined, we can rate it and it can rate us. So, similar with Uber, pizzas, whatever you want to call it, Netflix, they're revolutionising the way that we experience life. So why is real estate so goddamn difficult? It's been too difficult for way too long. If I've got a leaky tap in my investment property, why am I making 4 phone calls, following up with 3 emails and having to shuffle bits of paper around? Now that's changing. That's a very generalised statement, and that is changing. But it's your customers' expectations that are changing, and we need to keep up with them if we want to be at the forefront of the services that we offer our clients in real estate. Because the best experience you've had anywhere is the experience you expect everywhere. So the bar for your industry is not the best player in your industry. The bar for your industry is the best service provider. Now that could be Apple, it could be Uber, it could be Netflix. We can talk about a number of participants that are demonstrating great client experience. Wow factor. When was the last time we talked about wow factor in the real estate industry? But that's where we're headed. CX is very much becoming an obsession. It should be an obsession in your business. It should be an obsession for the role that you conduct within the organisation that you operate or manage or lead. So why do we focus on it? Well, here's some really interesting statistics. 70% of consumers are more likely to buy from someone that when they hear about it from someone that they trust. And if we look at the numbers, 90% of people trust recommendations from their connections versus only 30% via brand. So when we're out there talking to our real estate clients and the business owners, the question is, where are the marketing dollars going? The marketing dollars should actually be going into turning your clients into advocates. That's the best return on investment you will get for your marketing dollars. Brand, don't get me wrong, brand still has relevance, but it's what your brand stands for that has even more relevance than it ever has before. So I think the stats there speak for themselves. We need to turn our clients into advocates. We need to deliver the wow factor. So what does that all mean? How do we start to take control? Because we can take control. This isn't about putting up a whole heap of challenges that are facing in the industry and trying to scare people away and say, well, guess what? Do you know what? It's all too hard. Let someone else do it. Let Amazon, Google, anyone come in and just take over, because there's absolutely Buckley's chance of anyone succeeding here. The reason there are so many smart people with deep pockets with an interest in this space is to leverage the positional advantage that you will have serving the industry that you do, serving the clients that you do, because so many people can see the breadth of opportunity amongst serving more of their property services. So it's not just managing their property. It's connections. It's all the ancillary services that you can meet the needs for your clients for because of the positional advantage that you have. You're speaking to them on a daily basis. So why are we not doing more? That's why people are interested in the space, delivering technology to the space that you serve. However, because of the positional advantage that you have, that proximity to the client, you have every right to demand more of the clients that you serve. And arguably, they're demanding it of you. Be interested to a bit of a straw poll, but I won't ask people to put their hands up because I know that usually gets people a bit uncomfortable. But how many times have you been asked to do something by a client in the business that you operate, which is a service that you don't deliver? So my question is, well, the client's asking you to deliver the service, so therefore there's a preconceived expectation that that is a service that you deliver. There's a massive opportunity wasted, not just in terms of revenue, but to build a relationship with a client, because clients want relationships. Clients want relationships with the people they engage with. We don't go to Apple stores and buy Apple products every week of the year, but yet I dare say most of us feel that we've got a relationship with a brand that is Apple. And that's a great segue into the next point. We'll ask for a show of hands. Anyone familiar with Simon Sinek's work around Golden Circle? Yes, good stuff. Okay, this was where I was intending on bringing a flip chart out, but really doesn't work with the scope of the audience. So, what is Golden Circle and who is Simon Sinek? Strongly encourage you to just YouTube the guy. 5 minutes will change your life about how you think about things. In essence, he talks to this model. Why, how, and what. And he talks to it through the lens of how marketeers, how companies typically position their products in market. What do they typically do? They tell you what they do and how they do it. So, we make computers. This is how Apple would address it. If they were to use a typical model, which they don't, but if Apple were to use a typical model, they would simply say, well, yeah, we make computers and their products just simply are kind of pretty well designed and easy to use. Do you want to buy one? Sounds a bit like a second-hand car salesman, doesn't it? But what Apple do, and it's not isolated to Apple, but what forward-thinking businesses do that understand this, is they start with the why. And more people will buy because of the why than because of the what or the how. So when you start to look at it the way that Apple looks at it and says, well, we believe in challenging the status quo and doing things differently. Our products are beautifully designed and easy to use. We just happen to make computers. Want to buy one? It's a little bit more of a compelling story, isn't it? So we need to start thinking about why we do what we do. And as leaders, again, not just as business owners, but as leaders of teams in a business, having a clear understanding around vision and strategy is critical in this marketplace. It's not about simply selling a product or a service. We need to understand why we do what we do. And I think it's a challenge for business owners and leaders and people that work within the industry to be aligned and buy into this, because long gone are the days where simply coming in and being a software user or a shuffler of paper to fulfill legislative requirements within property management specifically are fundamentally gone. They're over. And if they're not far away from being over in the business which you operate, because the technology is catching up to enable the automation of things that should have been automated 15 years ago. It's coming. So that means not only do businesses need to change the way they go about business, but roles and responsibilities within those organisations need to change as well. And we'll touch on that in a second. Who would like to work in a place like this? This is the working space for Gusto, a startup in San Francisco. The point I want to make here is a point I made but want to expand on. I think I touched on it. If I didn't, I will now. CX is linked to EX. Your employee experience has a direct correlation to client experience. Again, large organisations are realising this and understanding that they need to invest in their staff, in their teams, in the workplace that they provide to their teams to embrace what is a changing environment out there. Heightened level of stress, anxiety, challenges just to get through life these days. The workplace needs to change. It's not about making it look pretty and big and just renovating an industrial warehouse. It's things like flexible working. And that's not just simply providing a mechanism for flexible working, saying it's okay to work from home, but if you actually got the technology within your business or the businesses in which you serve that enables that. It's one thing to say, yeah, we embrace flexible working and you can work from home 1 or 2 days a week, but if it's actually clunky and painful to work from home because the technology doesn't support it, that's not going to enable your employees to live their best lives, to bring their best selves to work, because employee experience is directly correlated to the experience of your clients. Uber, rideshare. Technology is clearly a massive facet of change that's playing out currently. A lot of it, as I said, is enabling or driving efficiencies within organisations, and that needs to be done. It's long overdue. Outsourcing, offshoring, there's a lot of talk around that at the moment, but that simply, for me, is a stepping stone to a build-out of technological capability that will come in time. So offshoring, outsourcing isn't around flicking emails and getting someone overseas or somewhere else to simply reply to an email and conduct a piece of work. We're talking about full integration of workflow into systems and processes, full automation, and it's coming. I know that it's something that Console are passionate about in their vision and roadmap for the future. And I strongly believe that that's where we need to head. It's about integrating workflow to ensure that it's seamless, not just from an employee experience, but from a customer experience as well. So we need to be leveraging technology, but we cannot let technology drive our vision and our strategy. Back to the point I made earlier around Simon Sinek and the Golden Circle, as businesses, we need to understand where our journey is headed, what we stand for, what we're about, and making sure that we've got partners aligned with us on that journey. So we could be looking at in the market now saying, okay, well, we need to change some platforms or some technology, and I'm hearing about this platform, that platform. Functionality for the here and now might sound fantastic, but if it's not aligned with the grand plan, with the broader vision, it's going to prove to be a significant sticking point in the future, not just for your clients and how you go to market, but for your employees as well. So there's more to think about here when we're talking about technology, but we need to be partnering with technology solutions or providers that can enable us to deliver great client experience, if that's the journey that we're on, if that's what we're all about. If our purpose, our vision, our strategy is simply around driving down margin and lower commissions, well, technology will do that as well. But that's not what technology is about. It's not simply about margin compression and being able to do things cheaper and big is good and scale, all of those sorts of things. There's still significant opportunity for value proposition out there in the marketplace because more people will buy why you do than what and how you do. I hope that makes sense. I'm actually racing through these slides, which is a little bit concerning. I've got a song and dance that I can throw in at the end if we get a bit of time spare. I'm sure that comment has just spooked Charlie Holland significantly. Either that or I could get him to join me. But everyone's interested all of a sudden. Everyone's woken up going, hang on a sec, this sounds like it might be getting quite good. So one of the final points I wanted to make around this is roles and responsibilities will change. Within real estate, they will change significantly. Because what technology is doing is it's simply not coming in and replacing a role or a job description. It's automating tasks. It's automating tasks, and it's slowly but surely picking them off one at a time. One at a time. So imagine, and don't get me wrong, property management is certainly a key aspect of where automation, technology and efficiency is being delivered. That's a no-brainer because it's driven by legislation. Nothing about property management is driven by customer experience in the main. It's driven by legislation. So when we can start to automate a lot of those processes through technology, those tasks, all of a sudden we've got property managers with capacity. We've already seen that play out. It doesn't seem that long ago that I was talking to a lot of our clients aspirationally about getting them from 80 to 100 properties per property manager to kind of 120. It would be nice if we could improve efficiency and get up to that. 150 is not the benchmark, but 150 is the minimum these days. We've got clients managing over 250 clients per property manager. Now, some people might be just kind of going, hang on a sec, that doesn't sound right. There's a caveat to that that I won't go into here, but there is capability and capacity within the business that can be literally leveraged overnight by simply leaning into the conversation that is technology, automation, and driving efficiency. So when you start to automate tasks and provide capacity in people's days, all of a sudden I've got half a property manager capacity here. There's some admin tasks that all of a sudden technology is driving some automation. I've got some HR tasks. I've got these sorts of tasks. You end up with 5, 6, 7, 8 people, depending on the size of your business, that have capacity. So what do? Well, what if that half admin person could also be the half property manager, whatever it might be. But that is what transformation is. It's leveraging technology to think differently about how you go to market. Property managers are not property managers. They are asset managers. We need to change the language about how we talk about property management. Because we've got a massive opportunity to delight clients and wow clients. And that's not simply getting a faulty tap fixed in an investment property. That's adding wow. How do I add wow to the experience here? There's some automation that can come through and technology that can help me, but how do I then leverage the relationships and the people factor to deliver wow? Technology can deliver wow to a certain extent. But everyone in the real estate business, property manager, wherever they might be, needs to have a think about what the journey that we're on. And there are a lot of businesses out there that are having these conversations, leaders having a conversation saying, well, here it is. This is what the future looks like. It's going to be a bumpy ride. We need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, but there's a massive upside here. There's significant upside on the basis that we're prepared to lean into the conversation, embrace the change, try things, God forbid, even make a few mistakes. Because that's what technology is all about. Uber make mistakes, Apple make mistakes, but for every 100,000 mistakes that they make, they get a few things right. And the things that they get right are significant. So we need to, as a business, be prepared to lean into the change, but we need to make sure that we've got the right people on the journey. The right people on the journey that understand the vision and are prepared to participate. And that's why I think the industry is attracting so many diverse people from diverse backgrounds these days. Seeing a lot less churn of existing people within the real estate space, just simply moving from one business to another. It's attracting a whole different caliber, skill set, background, whatever it might be, but a completely different demographic and population to the space now. And a lot of people are excited about that, being on a journey where you can try things, make mistakes, rather than simply going about things the way we've always gone about them, because that's simply how we do things. And when you've got a backdrop of clients expecting more from you because of what they receive elsewhere, you've got every right to try new things. But as well as having a clear vision and strategy within your own business, lean into the client conversations. What do they want? Because I think too often we come up with our own great ideas, and I'm mindful that leaders, you can be traditional, you can be entrepreneurial, you could be inspirational. We all have to come up with, or some of us love to come up with new crazy ideas. But let's just make sure that the ideas that we pursue and the thoughts that we have are actually things that client want. That doesn't mean that you need to build things from scratch and try it in the marketplace. But it's about even just drawing things on an A4 page and just sharing with a few clients. What do you think? What if we did this? Do you like the way our website's set up? What if we added this? Revenue, adjacent space, revenue, all of those sorts of things. Don't go out there and just do it because apparently we all need to get closer to our client and do more with our client. Maybe your clients don't even want you to take more share of wallet from some of the services that you could provide. But I hope you get what I'm trying to say around just thinking differently about how we serve our clients and how can we remove some of the clunk to get people focused on relationships and delighting clients. It's all about delivering wow. I am going to have a couple of minutes spare. This is quite scary now. I think the final point that I wanted to make, but I know that we have got some time for some questions, is just optimism. There's a lot of change happening out there. There's a lot of people with their head in the sand, if I'm quite frank. Again, having the privilege of looking after 2,000 real estate businesses across the country, there are a lot of people with their head in the sand going, I didn't see this coming. My intention was to actually get out of the space within the next few years. I've got no interest in investing in technology or what the future might look like. But there are a number of people coming through, future business leaders, that are excited about this opportunity. And by not leaving change to chance, but by leaning in and embracing some of these new things that are coming through, massive upside. Not just for business owners around longevity and sustainability of businesses, but I just think for anyone that works in the industry that just gets a kick out of delighting clients, customer service. I still get concerned when I hear this, but it happens way too often. Property managers that don't like picking up a phone and speaking to clients. That just scares me. But that's what it's going to be about in the future. That's what technology will enable you to be on the phone, building relationships with clients, doing more with clients, and preventing this wave of disruption coming through from new entrants, whoever they may be, in due course, because of that proximity to client. So the ability to leverage that relationship is critical. Optimism is the key to the future. There is significant upside. I've literally got 5 minutes left and I had all that I wanted to say. So I thank you very much for your time and the opportunity here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, for those of you in-house, you might have heard before, I think from Charlie, I omitted the details of how exciting it is that we have a live stream as well. So there was 300 odd of you at home who may or may not be wearing pants. So thank you so much for joining us. But I actually just had, and I might throw it over to a bit of Q&A if you're all right. One of the live streamers just messaged me and said, Emma, you're right, he does make a T-shirt look good. Where does he get them from? How do I make mine look like that? Can we start with that? Or have we got another microphone for Dom as well? Oh, no, you've got one around your face. Too busy looking at your shirt. So, Dom, your whole prezzo, if you don't mind me cutting it down to 4 seconds, was focused on evolution and disruption. So can I throw it over perhaps with a question and then in the crowd if you've got any others, but let's open with who or what you foresee in our industry in the next 5 years having a heavy disruption on us.
Would love to be able to pin that down and as to exactly what it might be. For me, it gets back to the point around the positional advantage that people have that are currently serving the industry. And that's what any of the disruptors need, is that proximity to client and the ability to get closer to the client. I think because of for this industry, when we talk about technology here, we haven't talked around the likes of data and AI, data utilization and AI, because I think we still need to come a little bit up to speed on the tech before the data and AI machine learning capability really kicks in. I think the thing that I'm most concerned about is things like Google, Amazon, the in-home relationships that we have about set an alarm and remind me to do this with the kids, or can you order this online? I think when people start to build relationships with those pieces of technology, that's when things get really scary for me. Scary, I think scary in terms of what it means for the industry. People continue to talk about REA. There was an announcement this morning that they had taken a minority share in a platform called Managed. That's an interesting play, I think a bold move. We'll wait and see how the industry reacts to that. So we can't pinpoint it here and now, but what these smart people with deep pockets, Amazon, Google, whoever it might be, are looking for is how do I get closer to that end user? I think REA are the closest because of the amount of the client journey that they serve with any property transaction. They just haven't overstepped the mark into a property management, to this point, property management or a sales environment. So roundabout.
Good answer.
Without
you weren't sponsored by that answer,
no,
by the way, just FYI. Just relevant info. Have we got a microphone roaming around that we could perhaps throw to anyone? Forgive me, my eyesight's poor with these lights. We've got a hand over here. Not a question? Not a question. Awesome. Any questions in the crowd for Dom? Awesome.
Easy.
It's because you covered so much in such a quick time.
Clearly.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Dom. Round of applause. Thank you, Dominic.